Lazy people are always smart. Lazy people are often misunderstood as being slow. But the truth is the opposite. Because they were lazy, they were forced to come up with the shortest way to solve the problem. Their brain always runs on the mode. How can we not have to do too much? And surprisingly, the answers are often quite creative. Instead of spending hours adjusting every detail, they immediately thought, which tool can help me? They are the first people to try new apps, new extensions, or new AI just because they want to be less tired. But it was precisely that lazy effort that helped them become more tech-savvy and better problem solvers. Simple example, the same 20-slide presentation. A diligent person spends 8 hours manually adjusting each image. Lazy people open Google, type free template, choose the most beautiful one, and edit it in 8 minutes. The result? The 8-minute version looks more professional than the 8-hour version. So sometimes intelligence doesn't come from extreme effort. It came from a simple question. Is there a less tiring way? Lazy people only do what's most worth doing. It might sound irresponsible, but they actually have a very special skill, a survival priority filter. If something isn't truly important, their brains will automatically forget it. And strangely enough, this mechanism works quite accurately. While the diligent person embraces everything, the lazy person will ask a very simple question. If I don't do this, will anyone die? If the answer is no, it is immediately removed from the list. Thanks to this, they unconsciously apply the 80-20 principle, only doing 20% of the work, but generating 80% of the results. A clear example. You give a 2-page task to a diligent person, and they'll read every line as if they're analyzing a thesis. But for lazy people, they read for exactly 60 seconds, underline a small paragraph, and then ask, is this the only main point? And the surprising thing is, it's true. Lazy people are rarely busy, but they often stumble upon the most important parts. It's not luck. It's a natural priority, sometimes more effective than time management skills. And that's just the first advantage. The next one is even more surprising. Lazy people protect their brain batteries. The brain makes up only 2% of the body, but consumes 20% of its energy. So it's actually very logical for lazy people to conserve energy bit by bit. They don't like multitasking because they know it overloads the brain too easily. Instead, they choose to do one thing at a time, slowly but surely, and especially not let themselves get bogged down in a bunch of miscellaneous things. Lazy people are also very good at avoiding drama. It's not that they don't care, but that they understand a simple principle. Drama is exhausting. Meaningless tasks, long meetings, unnecessary emails, they all skip these to save battery for more worthwhile things. For example, in a 1-hour meeting, a diligent person might ask 20 questions, analyzing every detail. The lazy person sits still, listens for the entire 30 minutes, and only asks one question. So, specifically, what do I need to do? The surprising thing is, that sentence resolved the entire meeting. That's an advantage. Less noise, less distraction. But it gets right to the heart of the matter. But that's just the lazy person's way of saving energy. And the way they turn laziness into system thinking is even more interesting. Lazy people have a systemic mindset. Lazy people really hate doing something twice. This isn't a negative emotion, but rather the motivation for forming systems thinking. As soon as they encounter a repetitive task, they ask themselves, is there a way to do this once and never have to touch it again? And it was that simple question that made them the creators of checklists, processes, and templates for the entire team. While the diligent person patiently prepares reports each week, the lazy person will open Excel, paste in formulas, drag a few lines, and then let the file update itself. Next week, they just need to open it, review it, and send it in 2 seconds. Not tired at all. Interestingly, this systematization doesn't come from a spirit of discipline. It comes from the fear of doing the boring chores again. But even though the reason is a bit funny, the result is extremely effective. That's the kind of optimization out of laziness, but it's beneficial for the whole team. Lazy people make quick decisions. Lazy people don't have the patience for overthinking. They don't like standing at a crossroads for too long, because that drains brain power. Therefore, they often choose the good enough option instead of trying to find the perfect one. And the interesting thing is, the good enough option often saves them time, and the results aren't that different from those who analyze for too long. While many people spend 10 minutes browsing the menu, 20 minutes comparing dishes, and then 5 minutes switching restaurants because they're not quite sure, the lazy person only asks one question: what's the signature dish here? And they ordered that dish right away. 2 minutes later, the food was on the table. This quick decision-making method is not reckless, it's simply optimization. The lazy brain understands that most choices in life are not important enough to be measured down to the millimeter. Therefore, they avoid mental fatigue, avoid stress, and most importantly, they save energy for what truly needs to be decided. Sometimes faster, neater, is smarter. Next advantage: lazy people are creative. Lazy people have a superpower that few notice. When they don't want to do something, they are forced to come up with another way. And it's precisely that moment of avoiding effort that opens the door to creativity. Simply put, laziness is the father of creativity. They are very good at making tools, thinking of clever tricks, or automating everything just to reduce the number of times they have to get up. You can laugh, but many famous inventions also started with a sigh, like, do I really have to do this all the time? The example is very clear. Don't want to get up to turn off the lights. That's why people invented remote controls. Don't want to change channels. The TV remote was born. Don't want to sweep the house. A vacuum robot appears. Don't want to wash dishes. The dishwasher saves all busy humanity. Looking back, you'll see the common thread. They all stem from dissatisfaction with wasted effort. And even though the motivation might sound internally lazy, the results are extremely helpful. So if you see someone trying to work less, don't be quick to criticize. That could be the seed of a new invention. Lazy people are good at optimizing processes. Lazy people have a very special ability. They can't stand long-winded processes. If a task requires 10 steps, a diligent person will complete all 10 steps as instructed. But lazy people are different. They looked at the entire process and wondered, can we eliminate any steps? So 10 steps became 5, then 3, then 1, and sometimes it's 0. Interestingly, this minimalism is not at all careless. It stems from their very clear distinction between real work and busy work. Thanks to this, in the company, lazy people are often the ones who see what is important and what is a waste of time. A classic example: a diligent person sends an email with 7 paragraphs, covering introduction, body, and conclusion. Lazy people send just 1 line. Here's the main idea. And the boss replied immediately, right. The entire room fell silent for 3 seconds because they couldn't argue. In short, optimization isn't about being smarter. It's simply because lazy people hate wasting energy. Lazy people experience less stress and live longer. Lazy people usually don't create unnecessary pressure for themselves. They don't overcommit. They don't strain themselves trying to juggle dozens of goals at once. And they don't try to appear multitasking. Instead, they choose a gentle, sustainable lifestyle. And it's this simplicity that brings stress hormones down to a much lower level than for someone who is always busy. Science also has points of agreement. Many studies show that people who live relaxed lives without constantly running deadlines in their heads tend to live longer and healthier. The heart rate is more stable, better sleep, a stronger immune system. It's all because they don't let themselves be as tense as a stretched string all day. A fun example: the same deadline. The diligent person started getting stressed 5 days before, thinking it over and over dozens of times. Lazy people only get tense for the last 5 hours, and clearly, 5 hours of pressure is less harmful to the heart than 5 days. Laziness is not something to avoid. Sometimes, it's the body's way of protecting you from unnecessary stress.